She's Ellie J. Up here? The one who's in ID? Yeah. Ellie J. Okay, thank you. Guys, not talking. Give me a second. I'm just sending some work to this lady. Guys, right, okay, so I want to take you back to this. This is the cartoon that we used last time to do the source activity on the Treaty of Versailles. Go back to this if you have it. I think you have this one. Before we went to the Clemenceau, there's one that we did, which looks like this. Have a look at it. Now, I say that in order for us to be able to, analyze a source, we need to consider the following. Elijah's that the chair needs to be put down nicely, and you need to be able to sit properly. Thank you. Now, every time you're given a source, I would expect the following, right? Okay. For example, here, this source, I expect you to do this. That is the basic one. Nature. Nature means you're going to say what the source is. Looking at it, you're going to say what the source is. For example, if you think it's a cartoon or if you think it's written, you need to say that. That's very important. Number two, you need to think about or look at the source, check where it comes from, who authored the source, who published it, say I'm talking, because you're going to ask me in a minute. Who published the source, you need to include that. Now, at the time that you consider the source and looking at origin, that is very important because that will either bring biasness into the source or not, which means the person who has written the source may have a biased view of what they want to represent in that source. So every time you're given a source, I want you to scrutinize very, very carefully. Look at the source, look at the origin, who is it who has published it. Now, does it mean the person who has published it may have a biased view on that subject, right? For example, if it is, turn it off, please. Turn it off, please. Thank you. Who's there? Okay, whoever it is, could you turn it off, please? I'll give you a chance. Right, okay, so if you're looking at, say, our participation in the Second World War, and you find that the person who has authored that source is British, or is from a British newspaper. Now, obviously, that person will try to bring in things that favor them as a nation, right? So I want you, every time that you have been given a source, really try to interrogate what the origin is. When was it published? Who published it? Would it be that the person who published it would have a biasness in that subject, right, in that source? So that's very important. And three, no, P. P means purpose. Right, what do you think is the purpose for that source to be published? Is it about propaganda? Propaganda, you know what that means? Does anybody know what propaganda means? For example, if it was during Nazi, and it is published by, say, a Nazi agent, then it may mean that those people want you to be able to get their point of view, purpose. So you have to really interrogate the purpose for which that source has been published. So NOP is a very important thing that you need to find out. Nature, you have to say what the source is. O, origin, you have to say who authored the source, when, and purpose is why was the source published in the first place. Those three. Now, after that, you're going to go to RAT. Relevance. What is the relevance of that source? Why do you think it is important that the person has published it? Do you think it's accurate? You have to think about it. Now, would I take this source as reliable, true, or is there something that this guy is trying to bring up? And typical, is this something that you can rely on or not? Right, three. So these three, make sure that you understand them very well, because you're going to apply them in this, this one as well. Now, have a look at this one here that you did. Now, in there, I asked the same question as NOP. So, nature, it's not there, it's the other one, I think. Right, nature, which means what is the source, what's the origin, when was this published, and why was it published. Right, so this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Now, as we do this, these are the things that you're going to find out. I'm going to ask you, for example, what the source is, that's the origin. Now, when you're saying that, you're going to say exactly that, okay, the source that you have given us is probably a cartoon, or is probably a written source, or whatever it is. What does it suggest? Now, when I ask you what it suggests, you will need to tell me exactly why you think that source was published. Right? And do you think it's useful? Relevance. You have to go and tell me about that. Now, is it reliable? And do you think it's exaggerated, or do you think it's not accurate, or something like that? Now, who thinks that they can benefit from this one here? Because this one here, it gives you what you need to write down in this source activity. It gives you probably what you need in paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and your conclusion. Does anybody think they can benefit from this? Okay, fair enough. I'm going to give one per table so that you can share together. Now, this is also important. I'm going to talk about it. I expect you guys to write at least three paragraphs on this work. Right, there you go. Down here are the levels that... Down here are the levels. I have got it, on those worksheets as well. What you may be able to get if you did, just to give a little description of a source without having to explain. 1 and 2. This is marking scheme. You're gonna have a look at that. So as you do your source analysis, please go by this, because it gives you an insight of the depth of the work that I require. Now, that is the source. Have a look at it. It's about the Treaty of Versailles. Who do you think is the person being held and being forcefully fed? Put up your hand. Yes, PJ?
Germany.
Germany. Well done. Who do you think are holding this state and feeding by force? Which countries? Yes.
America, Italy, and Japan.
Yeah, those countries. Britain, of course, is there. And what is it that she's supposed to swallow without a word? What is it that she's forced to take in, whether she likes it or not? And remember, if somebody's holding you on the throat and chest and still they want you to swallow, it means it's not going to be practical for you to swallow it. But yet they're doing it. They have squeezed him or her. At the same time, they want it to go in. What is it that they want Germany to swallow? Yes. There? Can hear you. The peace terms, well done. So that's what you can do. The peace terms. The peace terms, those clauses which were very unfair. Right, so this is what it's going to be, a cartoon called A Bitter Pill to Swallow. This appeared in a... Now, as you look at it, look at the origin, please. It says this appeared in a British newspaper. So, as you look, do your origin, think carefully. Do you think there could have been any biasness if this is not published in Germany? Remember, if it was published in Germany, then you could as well say that person doing this who is a German may have some biasness. But if it is something that is done in Britain, could it mean that the British also had a view that this one was a very hard pill to swallow? Or what do you think? And finally, have a look at that. So, the statements I have for you are here. You want to use them. Put up your hand if you need them. Yes. You need any? You don't? I believe you guys, everybody needs them. Let's all have them because it's important. Yeah?
What's the time?
In a minute, I'm going to talk about it.
I see.